Welcome back to Wined and Dined. I'm your host, Mark DeWolf, and in today's tasty edition of our In a Jiffy wine pairing tip videos, I'm going to talk about pairing pizza. You know, if you're like me, one of the foods I eat most often when drinking wine is pizza. You know, at the end of a long week, nothing easier than making your own simple pizza or ordering it in. But what wine should we have with pizza? And truth be told, if you're in Italy, you know, oftentimes the Italians are drinking a beer, but I think we still have a very romantic sense of drinking wine and eating pizza. And when I'm going to come to recommending wines, I'm going to stick in Italy. Why? Well, because I love Italian wine, and there's so much choice from the boot. You know, there's so many good styles of wine being made from north to south that why not? We can stay in Italy. So let's start with the basics. What's a pizza? You know, ultimately it's a crust, a tangy tomato sauce, and some mozzarella cheese. You know, pretty simple stuff. So how do we pair with it? And I think if you talk about the most classic and most basic of pizza, and probably the one I order the most, it's the margherita. Thin crust, usually cooked in a wood-fired oven, tomato sauce, mozzarella cheese, fresh ideally, and a little bit of basil. You know, it's tangy, it's simple, and what do you want in a wine? When you want to find that balance, you know, you want to find the balance of the structure of the wine and structure of the food, but you also just want to find the balance of the personality. It's uncomplicated, it's simple food. What should you have in your glass? Uncomplicated, simple wine that might be slightly tangy. You know, great choice is classic Chianti. You know, you don't have to get a Chianti Classico or Chianti Classico Reserva. Basic Chianti, fresh, cherryish, bright, lots of acidity, great for cleansing the palate, great for not too heavy. It's not going to overwhelm the pizza. Now, if you want to go a little farther afield, you know, you could try Barbera d'Alba or Barbera d'Asti. You know, both great acidity. This comes from the northern part of Italy, in Piedmont, or Piemonte, as Italians would say. Again, nice, fresh acidity. Another selection would be from Sicily, something like a Frappato. Light, fruity, it's one of my favorite styles of wine. We don't see too many here, but if you do see one, pick one up. Of course, in North America, what's our number one favorite style of pizza? Pepperoni, you know, and thicker crust. So it's a little fuller, a little spicier, but again, it speaks to simple, you know. Don't want to overwhelm this with too much. We just want to have a good, full-bodied, simple wine. I can't think of anything better than Montepulciano d'Abruzzo from the eastern, kind of central south part of Italy. You know, rich, ripe, simple, juicy, delicious. You know, Zinfandel works, or maybe go down to Puglia and find a Primitivo, a little spicier. A little bigger and bolder styles, you can go, you know, like a Chicago deep dish pizza or one of those meat lovers, you know, ramp it up a bit, get a Chianti Classico Reserva, or I'll even go as far up as Veneto and Valpolicella. From that region, you can look at Amarone or Ripasso. Well, not all pizzas actually have tomato sauce. You know, I'd love a good white pizza sometimes, so either with a bechamel sauce or no sauce at all. You know, and this is where I think we can go to whites, and I'm going to give you a slightly interesting selection. So if white's good all-purpose Italian white, Soave, but be sure to get Soave Classico. A little more fragrant, a little more refinement to it, so very important. I always buy Soave Classico from the classic region. But what about champagne? You know, when you think about white pizzas, it's all about the crust and the yeast and what's making that flavor, right? So a wine style that really gets a lot of flavor from yeast, or at least by sitting on dead yeast cells for a long time, is champagne. Now, of course, they don't make champagne in Italy because that's limited to northern France. But what they do make is a similar style. A lot of the same grapes, a lot of the same style. Franciacorta from Lombardy. So if you want to be a little bit elegant, a little bit decadent, you're having a white pizza, maybe you've topped it with a little smoked salmon, or just a simple white pizza with a little Parmesan cheese and herbs. I'd actually serve some bubbles. So reach for a bottle of Franciacorta. Come back in a week or two and we're going to give you another video with some easy wine pairing tips.